everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables, and welcome to some of my most anticipated reads that are being released in the spring months. So I live in the United States of America, so spring constitutes as it begins in March and it ends in May because summer begins in June. So today I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm very excited that are being released in March, April, and May. I did do a whole video at the very beginning of the year talking about all the books I'm excited about, but of course I always miss ones, I always add ones. That's why I like doing seasonal ones, because it gets me to do more research and see ones that I miss, which I always do. Even with these I miss, you get the gist. On March 4th, we have Wild Side by Elsie Silver. This is her third book in her Rose Hill series, I believe. I've read the first one. Haven't read the second one yet. What's the second one called? Wild Eyes. So this one's Wild Love. The first one was Wild something. Wild Eyes. No, Wild Love. Something like that. You know, you get it. You get it. This one is about Reese and I'm not 100% sure. All I know, it's about, this whole series is single dad. So every single book is a single dad. They find love. You get the gist. If you don't know, her books are kind of westerny in a way, small town with a lot of steam. And I enjoy them. But the reason I don't read them as much is because they are some big ones. So there's that. Then also on March 4th, we have Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. She wrote Ready or Not, which was released last year. I loved and adored. It was one of my favorite books. So this one, all I know, it's about a character. It says, grieving the loss of her best friend, a young woman's life is turned upside down when she meets a grumpy stranger who swears he can help her live again in this heartwarming, slow burn romance. And that's all I'm going to tell you about it, because that's all you need to know. I loved Ready or Not because it felt just very like fresh and just sweet and just kind of that spring feeling. So I'm hoping that will also be what this one is. I'm really, really hopeful. We got lots of ones coming out March 4th. One that I did not put in my big list because I missed it, see, is Spells, Strings, and Forgotten Things by Brienne Randall. She wrote The Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. Gosh, the longest titles ever. They're more fallish, witchy books to me, so I might save this one for fall, but we'll see. This one says, in a small town of Gold Springs, Calliope and her two sisters carefully guard the secret of their magic and price they must pay to practice memories. The more powerful the magic, the greater the memory required. Luckily, all Calliope wants to do is forget for the mother who left him, forget the cracks in her relationship with her older sister, forget the way the love of her life shattered her heart 2 years ago. But now when an ancient evil awakens, their magic begins to slowly fade, and I think things happen. So, like I said, very kind of witchy vibes, which means fall for me. So I'm interested to see why it's coming out in spring, but you know, it is what it is. Then we have The Strawberry Patch Pancake House. Just so many long titles by Lori Gilmore, coming out on March 13th. This is part of her Dream Harbor series. This is her, I want to say, fourth one in it. I've read all three of them so far. They're okay. Are these books that are gonna make your top 10 list? I really don't think so. They're just kind of seasonal filler books. If you're a seasonal lover and just want straight up seasonal vibes, I think her books are for you. So this one, you can clearly tell it's about the owner of a Strawberry Patch Pancake House. It's single dad Archer, and then tropes, single dad, forced proximity, slow burn, found family, one bed. Like, I will probably read this. We'll see. We'll see. Then probably the one I'm most excited for, one of the ones I'll say, is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, coming out on March 18th. This is Haymitch's story, and I'm very excited for it. I did enjoy The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm always interested to go back in time to learn the dynamics of a character, what made them the way they are. I much rather series that have finished, instead of going in the future and changing things, go back in the past and let's explore how they became. I will say this forever until we get a freaking Bellatrix Lestrange story, or even a freaking story about the Marauders. Like, come on. Nevertheless, we got Haymitch's story, and that's all I know about it. So it's all about Haymitch, and he's participating in the 50th Hunger Games. I think it's the celebration of the Quarter Quell, and I think they put double the amount of contestants, and it's going to be intense. I'm excited. I hope it goes over well, because I desperately want a Finnick backstory, a Joanne backstory. Like, give them all to me. I will eat them up. Like, this makes my little YA heart so freaking happy. 11th, we have Kills Wells with Others by Deanna Raybourn. This is the sequel to Killers of a Certain Age, which I read a couple years ago. Really enjoyed. It's like Golden Girls meets if they were like assassins, pretty much. In the first book, they were retiring, and then they learned people were after them in their company. And now I think something else is going to happen. I don't know much, and that's okay. I'm just expecting a good, fun time with some old ladies that know how to kill. Sounds amazing. Then lastly, in March, I have This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead coming out on March 25th. This is, it says it's the most famous crime in modern history, but only she knows the truth. And it's about the unexpected death of her father. College student Jane needs a distraction from her grief. So she gets really involved into true crime, which I think a lot of people do. And so when the news of shocking death of three college girls in Delphine, Ohio, so when the shocking deaths of three college girls in Idaho takes the world by storm, she wants to figure it all out. She wants to beat the cops. She wants to beat the investigators. She wants to figure it all out. So it says, told 1 year after the astounding events that concluded the case and left the world reeling, Jane has finally decided to break her silence on what really happened. She tells the true story of the Delphine massacre. All of Ashley Winstead's thriller novels. My favorite of hers is In My Dream I Hold a Knife. The other two I've read, I liked, I didn't love. So I'm skeptical about this one, but hopeful at the same time. We'll have to see, as all of them. We'll have April. We have Sirens by Amelia Hart coming out on April 1st. She previously wrote Wayward, which I loved. Usually her books are kind of like 3 stories comprised into one. And this story of sisters separated by hundreds of years but bound together in more ways they can imagine. So 2019, 1800, and I don't know what the other one is. But yeah, it's about the sheer power of sisterhood and the indefinable magic of the sea. So it's got a, like siren type of thing, which is amazing. I'm excited for this one. Also on April 1st, we have one of my favorites, Say You Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I love her. I love her book. She just keeps getting better, and I'm so excited to see what she's going to do. Just for the Summer last year was my favorite book of the entire year. And I really don't want to read what this is about. I really don't, because I don't care. There's some authors where I'm like, whatever you write about, I'll read. And she's one of them. I'm going to skim over it briefly. It says, Xavier is almost a perfect guy. He's a gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes, all while cuddling a tiny kitten. Oh my gosh. And then he just opens his mouth and he's horrible, basically. And then there's Samantha, who loves, I think it's like a hate to love type of thing. That's all I want to know about it. Okay, moving on. Next up, we have Enchantra by Kaylee Smith coming on April 8th. This is the sequel companion novel to Phantasma, which I read last year, really enjoyed. It's like a dark romance, but not super dark. In case you're like not into that really, really dark stuff, like I'm not. I don't jive well with that. I appreciate other people liking it. It's just not for me. I enjoy Phantasma. So this one is about the sister of that one. And it says Ready or Not meets Throne of the Fallen in a spicy enemies to lover fantasy romance where an Italian getaway turns deadly after a young woman is trapped in her host family's cursed game. So all I know, it's about the sister from the main characters. She's in Italy. You get the gist. I'm very excited for it. April 15th, we have Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is her 4th book in the series. I did not love book 1. I still have not read book 2. I was very excited for book 3. I was like, I'm going to love this. It was okay. This one, it set it up really well in the 3rd one, so it makes me excited for it. It's about single mom Camille, and then she was supposed to get married, then her groom left her, and she goes back home, and there's this guy, Dusty, who's been pining for her for years, and he's like, she was the one that got away, and I think, it's not going to be that case anymore. Either way, it sounds cute. I don't think it's going to be, like, super amazing, but we'll see. Then on April 22nd, we have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, another author where they could write whatever they want, and I would read it. So this one, luckily, does not have a big synopsis, at least as far as I know. It says 2 writers compete for the chance to tell their larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve in this dazzling and sweeping new novel. That's all I know. Oh, there's more. So that's going to be exciting. I love publishers sometimes. They always put Abby and Emily's books in the same month, and I'm like, it's going to be a good reading month. And it's usually April or May, so I'm very excited for it. And on April 24th, we have Rewind It Back by Liz Tomforty. This one, all I know it's Rio's book, which he's been a character since the very beginning of the series. They're sports romances, and I think we're all excited for our boy Rio to get some love because he needs it desperately, and he deserves it, so I'm excited to see him finally get it. And that's all I know. This is Not a Game by Kelly Mullen coming out on April 24th. The cover really intrigued me, and it seems like it's a cozy type of mystery. It says 2 unlikely detectives, a killer cocktail suspects. And so that's all I know I think basically it's like kind of a locked door mystery thing. It reminds me of The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ally Carter, which I loved last year, so I'm hoping to love it. And then April, which I did not think this was coming out in April. I thought it was coming out in like June, but I actually got a physical arc of My Friends by Frederick Bachman, another one of my favorite authors. I love him. Beartown and A Man Called Uwe are some of my favorite books of all time. So this is his new one. It says an unforgettable, funny, deeply moving tale of four teenagers whose friendship creates a bond so powerful it changes a stranger's life 25 years later. That's all I want to know about it. His books are very intense. You will probably cry through them, but man, they are beautiful. So I was not expecting this one to come out in April. I thought it was going to be like May or June. Moving into May, or last month, we have The Man Made of Smoke by Alex North, another one I missed, coming out on May 13th. I have read The Whisper Man and I think The Shadows by him. I do really enjoy it. They're kind of darker, more thrillers. This one just says it's the latest gripping serial killer thriller. And that's all I want to know about it, basically. It's about a dev whose life's been haunted by the crime he witnessed as a child. So, this is a story of fathers and sons, shadows and secrets, and the fight we all face to escape the trauma of the past. Yes. Next up, we have Main Characters by Hannah Orstein, coming out also on May 13th. This is a love letter to lake life, and it's the Parent Trap for adults. So I saw that, the cover pulled me in, and then I read Parent Trap for adults, and I was like, say less. Like, I will read you. So it's a story of two half-sisters who meet for the first time at their father's cabin in Maine after his unexpected death. Sounds amazing. I don't know if I've read any or heard of this author before, but it sounds interesting, and I'm excited about it. Then we have a new Catherine Center book, The Love Haters, coming out on May 20th. She writes women's fiction with a dash of romance. I would say her last few books I haven't really loved, but I still enjoy her writing. It's about Katie, who's been burned by love. It says to get laid off from her job as a video producer or at her co-worker's Cole's request, take a career-making gig profiling Tom Hutchinson's the catch, Katie, exactly. Okay, basically, I think she has to be like a Coast Guard rescue swimmer or something like that, but she's really not. I don't know. Sounds fun. We'll have to see. Then we have Left to Forever by Tara DeWitt, coming out on May 20th. She wrote Savor It, which I have tried to read twice. I cannot get into it for some reason. Okay. If you hear anything, my daughter's literally right here. She like wants to be near me. Look, she's even handing me but anyway, I could not get into it, but this one sounds interesting. So it's a second chance romance from two characters from the first book. They've been married, they've had kids, they're now divorced, but maybe they are seeking a reconciliation, which sounds amazing. Lastly, I have It's a Love Story by Annabelle Madigan, which she writes really kind of summery, cute romances. This one's about a former adolescent TV punchline who has left her awkwardness in the rearview mirror. Something about like faking something. I don't know. I read her book last year. I forget what it was called, so please forgive me. But it was just summery. And these are like the perfect books to kind of greet summer with, which I'm very excited for. So yeah, those are all the books that are coming out in spring that I'm very excited to read and hopefully will love. I would love to know if there's any books that I missed, because I'm sure there are. And let me know which ones so I can add them to my list. For spring, I know I am. I'm wearing butterfly earrings for goodness sake. Like spring... Ugh, I need it. I'm so over winter. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.